Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got some special guests joining us today.
Yes, indeed.
Khadeen and Devale, Ellis. They have a new book.
Yes.
We Over Me.
What's up, y'all? We're back.
What's up?
Good to see
I feel like
y'all.
I was just here. Good to see y'all too.
Welcome,
We
welcome,
Over
welcome.
Me. I love that title. Break that
You
down.
like that?
So the funny thing is, we couldn't think of a title for a long time. We were going to start with the Brooklyn love story because ultimately that's what it is. Like, it's a Brooklyn love story. Two kids from Brooklyn who figured out how to build an empire together. But the first time Khadeen and I were dating, and we were in my room, and I said, she said to me, "Yo, what do you want to do with your life?" I was like, Martin was on TV, and I was like, I want to do that. And she said to me, "Well, how we gonna do that?" And it resonated
That was first
with me.
date too,
That was
y'all.
the first date.
I had the foresight from
It
early.
resonated with me. I was like, dang, she said we. She ain't make fun of me. She ain't say, oh, you ain't never gonna do that. So I was like, when I was thinking about the title of the book, I thought about the first time we met and everything. I was like, we over me. Plus, you know, it rhymes. So it always helps people remember.
That's a great story. How did you know that he was the one from that?
Or did
said it
you
was
know?
the first date?
It was first date, but you know, you'll learn in the book that we have a very rich history. He and I actually went to elementary school together.
Okay.
So it was a thing where our paths kept crossing over the years, and finally that first date was after meeting him at a banquet. We got to sit and chat, and there was just something about his charisma and his energy. He like whatever he said he wanted to do in his life thus far, he had gotten it. So I was like, oh, this could be something.
Did you know she was the one?
He was
The first
cute
time you
too,
met her?
so.
Nah, actually,
Damn,
I
whoa.
didn't.
Damn it, man.
Whoa.
Listen.
Whoa.
Listen.
Whoa, you brave man.
Right, brave
Whoa.
guy.
Whoa.
Anybody?
That no was forceful.
And, no.
Forceful ass no.
That was a hard no
He
for
could've just
real,
said
yo.
no.
Wow.
It was
My
giving I
bad.
know, right?
Wow, damn it, man.
Y'all gonna hit me with the Kevin Hart? I didn't say no like that. Like, damn. We actually
All right, back to the no.
Right.
We talk on our podcast, and we said in the book, like, she told me she loved me after 2 weeks. And I was like,
Ugh.
thanks.
Yeah, that can
Like,
be a bit
I-
much.
turn
I
off?
didn't know.
Could
Nah,
have been a turn off.
it could have been. I was
Yeah.
18. I was 18.
Yeah.
So you didn't say it back.
Nah, I said thanks.
Thanks.
And the reason why I said thanks.
Damn.
See, Dan.
And I still came back for more after the thanks, right? So who's the crazy one?
So,
Wow.
but here's the thing, though. I said thanks because I was like, I don't want to lead her on. Am I going to be a liar and be like, I love you, and then not know if we're going to be together? So I was like, I didn't know what to say. So I said thanks. And I was just like,
That sounds so crazy.
I just didn't know what to do. I'm 18. Who wants to be in a relationship when you first get to college? I'm a Division I athlete.
Yeah.
I'm finally supposed to be meeting women and all this other stuff. And then I meet this beautiful girl and we talk to each other every day. It kind of caught me off guard, but I couldn't get enough of her.
It makes me think, like, can you have a future with someone if you can't see a future with someone? Like, you saw the future with him.
Yeah, I did. And like him, I wasn't in search of anything either. I was coming out of my strict West Indian parent household. Like, I was ready to, you know, not let loose, but I was ready to, like, get acclimated. Yeah, I wanted to be in the streets a little bit. So, it's funny. It's just the vibe I think that we had from early. It was just talking about hopes and dreams. And he always spoke like a guy that was just far beyond his years. Like even with plans for what he wanted to do financially with his life and his future. And he knew that he didn't want to play football long term. He wanted to eventually be an actor. So I'm like, well, how are you going to do that? He's like, I'm going to ride out on the scholarship. I'm going to see if I could make the NFL. If I'm at least on the practice squad, I can make a little money to build a little nest egg. Move back to Brooklyn, get a brownstone, renovate it. We live on the bottom floor. Like, we had a whole thing planned out.
That was the first date. We talked about that on our
First date.
First date. And when I think
like,
about it
where could you
now,
see yourself?
we were 18. So I'm thinking about now, like 18-year-old kids don't speak about building their life like that. But when I remember, I was like, I was thinking like that at 18. So
Yeah.
I could see how she, you know, kind of felt like this may be something I want to do long term. I wasn't in that mindset. I was all about chasing girls. Like,
Did you ever think because he played football, he was an athlete, like, oh, he's going to be one of those?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And people warned me too. They were like, oh, like, don't even get too involved, especially once time came for the NFL and he was a prospect.
Yeah.
They were like, this is the part where you guys go your separate ways, let him sow his wild oats. You focus on what you got to focus on. And if you make it out on top after he's out there with these NFL groupies, then maybe things will work out. You know?
And it went both
So-
ways. They told me when I went to go play football, she wasn't going to wait for me. She was still in school. She was getting her master's degree. Everybody's like, you think while you playing ball, she going to be sitting back at Hofstra just waiting for you to come back? And there was parts of me I was like, dang, that's a tall task for a beautiful young woman who's also has her own career goals and stuff. I'm like, man, like, and it made me insecure. Like, there's a story we talk about in the book when we couldn't find her for a day. She was coming back from tracks in Brooklyn.
Yeah, it was like a little local spot, a little lounge I used to go to every Thursday with my homegirls.
And
stuff.
she ran into her uncle on the way back, and he was like, "You're not driving back to Long Island. You're gonna come stay when you were drinking or whatever." And she's like, "I wasn't drinking, Uncle Emil." So he went to stay. She went to stay with her aunt and uncle. Fell asleep, left her phone in the car. She always calls me when she gets back. So now I'm in the locker room, right? I'm getting ready for team meetings, and I don't get no phone call.
Can't concentrate.
Can't at all. Right?
I wish women understood that.
What?
I really wish you understood how that makes us feel.
What?
No,
Well, you talk
I
about it, bro,
know.
because I used to tell her all the time, like,
this
how do you
day.
not call me when you get places? To this day.
Word up.
So now I'm in the locker room, NFL rookie. Roy Williams and Mike Williams is like, yo, what is wrong with you, bro? And I'm trying to keep it together. I'm like, I haven't heard from my girlfriend. So they like, your girlfriend, she probably out getting her back blown out. Like,
Damn,
they
made it worse.
saying
Whoa.
all sorts. Yo, this is the locker room. It's the locker
that was
room.
happening?
Oh, yeah, they was clowning me.
You
big
dropped
time.
every pass that
Clowning
day.
me.
I didn't even get to practice. Because after that, her mom called me. Said, hey, we haven't heard from...
No!
Now you cried.
Now-
You cried.
You cried. What? Yo, it's nasty snot. Somebody got my girl, man. Like, I'm crying, bawling. Then my mom calls me. Devale, I think you should come home. So now I'm thinking,
no, don't play with
they
me.
found her, and they don't want to tell me
you.
because I'm by myself in Detroit.
Oh.
So I go to the security office, the NFL
You in
security-
Detroit?
I'm in Detroit.
You in Detroit.
I go to the NFL security's office. I'm like, yo, they can't find my girlfriend, and they've been having issues with people breaking in people's house, taking people's family members. This happens in the league a lot.
Taken for ransom, all of it. Yeah.
So they're like, all right, we're gonna get our people involved. They called FBI. They broke into her phone. They called campus security. Broke into everything.
Text
like
messages,
text
everything.
messages, everything. Right? They're like, we have nothing. We found nothing. Like we don't know where she is.
Give me the time span. How long? What's that matter of hours?
This was-
I
You
want
went
to say
to-
I dropped her. My friend. Another thing that is important to mention: this guy parked me in to my parking
Double
spot
parked
and
her
wouldn't
in.
let me out the spot unless I gave him my number.
That's the last conversation we had on the phone.
He just was like, no, I need your number, and I'm like, I'm really trying to get out of this parking spot. So he was trying to bully me to get my number, and I told him that what was happening. So
Yeah.
he thought for sure homeboy followed me.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even thinking to put two and two together. So it was about maybe 2 a.m. that I
About
dropped
2
my-
a.m.
my-
you
yeah.
dropped
And
Lisa off.
and literally as I turned the block, I pull up and my uncle looks and he's like, hey, because I drove this green RAV4, you couldn't miss it. He was like, hey, and I was like, yeah.
And Uncle Emil, big time protected. Like you're not
Yeah.
driving.
He
back
was like,
by
you about
yourself.
to drive to Long Island? You in Brooklyn?
Which is
like,
smart.
It's 2
Which
in
is
the morning.
what
Which
you
I get
supposed
it.
to
That's
do.
what
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do. Yeah. So
So how
gets
long were
him-
you
so
missing?
then I was missing for about 6 hours, 8 hours.
8 hours.
So you
10
slept from
a.m.
2 a.m.
2 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Woke up.
She had good sleep.
I got good sleep.
Woke up. And here's the thing: her uncle and her aunt
Yep.
put a blanket on her. They went
Yeah.
to work.
They were like, oh,
They went
when
to
she
work,
gets up,
and when she
just
gets up, she
left
gets
a
up.
note for me to lock the door and everything.
So nobody called the aunts and uncles? Like they weren't
They
on
would
the
have no
emergency
idea that
callers?
she was there.
Yeah, they didn't have. They called me. They called her friends. They didn't, and they didn't want to. Her mom said they didn't want to alarm everybody, so they just called the people she frequent the most, her friends, people at school, and then finally her uncle. She got to her phone. It was just like, yo, what's going on with my phone?
Yeah, I woke up. I'm like, oh my God, where's my phone? I get to the car and I
Bruh.
was like, oh, it's dead. The minute I
Bruh.
turned the phone on, it's like 48 text messages, 30-something voicemails.
Your
My
mom beat your
mom's
ass as an adult.
What?
I know your mom
as a
beat your ass
whole
as an adult.
adult. Her job, I opened the phone and it was her coworker like, Khadeen, is that you? Is that you? Oh my God. And then it was just like, my mom is in tears. She was like, don't you ever do that again. Devale is on his way home. I'm like, what? Then
That's
I heard
right.
that part and I
The
was
Lions got me
so
a flight.
embarrassed.
That's why I didn't make it to practice. The Lions got me in a flight.
Oh my God.
I'm on my way to the airport. My phone rings. And at first, when I was calling her, it went dead. Now I'm like, they got her phone. They turned it off. They sending me the voicemail. Then I see a phone call from the boss. I got her in as the boss, and I'm like, now they about to ask me for some money. Whoever this is about to ask me for some money. So when I pick up the phone, she's
Like, yo, what up?
Yeah, I'm like, who this? She's like, hey, babe.
That
I'm
happened
like,
to me
babe.
yesterday, bro.
Babe.
Bro, that happened to me yesterday, bro.
Are you serious?
My wife took my one of my daughters to a birthday party.
At this age?
Listen, my wife took one of my daughters to a birthday party, so I'm taking my other daughter to cheerleading practice, and I got my other daughter with me, and I'm calling my wife on the way back to ask her something, and she's not answering the phone. I'm like, that's strange. She had just texted me and told me she got there, so I told my oldest daughter to call. So when my oldest daughter called, a dude picked up the phone and was like, oh yeah, she left her phone where they was at. Like somebody lost their phone here.
their phone.
And I'm like, oh hell no. I know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So immediately I'm en route. And then like 5 minutes later, she calls.
Hey, babe.
So Charlamagne, I tell you everything I went through, right? You would think my wife learned, right?
Again?
No.
What happened This
Devale.
past weekend.
It wasn't that bad.
Again?
It wasn't that
My
bad.
biggest pet peeve too, bro.
She went to
I'm
get
with
a
you.
massage, right? And she texted me, "Hey, babe, I'm here. I'll be on my way home. I'll be home at 6, right? It's 5:45. I'm thinking she got to be on her way home.
Of course.
I'm calling. I call. We live in Atlanta now. They are taking women in Atlanta, like following them when they drive. And I thought she drove my car. I have a red Porsche. So I'm like, well, somebody saw her driving a Porsche and just follow her, whatever. So I'm calling. I call in like 10 minutes straight. Nothing. I'm like, fuck it. I go get in the other car. Now I'm in the car. I'm about to pull out. I get phone call. Hey, babe. I'm like,
bro.
Nobody get Life 360 on your phone.
I have that.
I have it on all my kids' phones.
Wait, what
I
is
know
it
my
called?
wife is all
Life
the time.
360. I got
Life
that.
360?
Life
All right,
360.
we're gonna get
But I
that
was
one.
driving in the moment, but you know what's so
Kids
crazy?
too.
What
Yeah.
pisses you off the most is how nonchalant they act.
like it's nothing,
Like
right?
nothing.
All right, lesson learned. Lesson
She gonna tell me, it's
y'all.
not that big deal. Relax. I was just on the massage table.
No, man. No. I don't know why our minds work like that, but we think the worst possible scenario.
So
I
what was
don't
that
know.
argument like after that? Because now you just can't let her live because this is the second time.
I'ma be
You got to be
honest,
mad
bro.
a little bit. You got to be a little light skinned.
I was extremely light skinned. I was
My
extremely
approach was different too. I kind of dropped my voice. Like, I understand.
Yeah, the biggest thing now is we know each other's triggers. So the minute I picked up, I said, yo, real talk. The minute I said real talk, she's like, babe, I'm sorry. And then once I heard her kind of be like, I'm sorry, I was like, I can't be too light skinned right now because I still want her to be home.
Right.
You know, and then now the fact that I heard her voice, I know she's okay. I feel better.
And you got to give her grace. You talk about in the new
Yeah.
book how you have to give your partner grace.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
fact.
so
That's a big thing
the
for
biggest
us.
thing for us is learning how to communicate. You know, we came from different communication styles.
Oh yeah,
You know,
like
I grew
completely
up.
polar opposite.
I grew up an athlete, oldest son. Nothing was ever good enough for my parents. Like my parents, this ain't good enough. You get 90s, but you have poor and missing homework. That's terrible. You off the basketball team. Then I play football, so
And you Nigerian?
coaches.
He actually is.
Actually, I found out through
Yes.
23andMe
Okay.
that a large portion of my blood is from Nigeria. So shout out to the green and the white, my Niger people. But they were always hard on me like that. Then my football coaches, extremely hard on me. But that made me successful. So I felt like, if you love someone and you want them to be successful, you should be hard on them. So I used to be hard on my girlfriend. Like, if I saw that she wanted to do something the same way she was like, how we gonna do that? She said she wanted to do TV. How we gonna do it? I'm on her. Oh, TV, they weigh 120 pounds. You need to be in the gym. What are your grades like? You said you want to do this. You need to record more content. And she'd be like, bro, I thought I was doing the right thing. And then after 5 years of marriage, that's when I kind of realized.
Yeah, he was
like,
taking the football approach. He thought I was like, I'm a teammate, yes, but I'm not like a
Yeah.
teammate on the football field. So coming from a background where my family rarely like had extensive conversations about anything, it was more so if something happened, you didn't feel so good about it, you feel away, it'll blow over. Let's just sweep it under the rug. So attacking things head on, communicating about problems, talking about how you felt, like there was a huge learning curve for me with just figuring out how to
both of us.
just eloquently even express or formulate in my mind how to tell him how I felt about it. So people see us now and they're like, man, I want to find me a Devale. I want to find me a Khadeen. So we're like, well, Devale and Khadeen you see today is not the Devale
Hell
and
no.
Khadeen
Facts.
that
Like-
first met each other. This is 20 years in the making.
And I was
So,
going to ask that.
yeah.
How did y'all do it? Because, you see now everybody's getting a divorce, right?
Yeah.
And these are not just new couples. They'll be like
Yeah.
15 years in divorce, 10 years in
Shockers,
divorce.
yeah.
So how would you tell people that are in relationships now or married now, how do you guys stay together for the long haul?
Well, the biggest thing is you just gotta want to be together. You know, women ask me all the time, like, what did Khadeen do to make you want to be monogamous? I'm like, Khadeen never did anything. I wanted to be a husband. I wanted to be married to someone. But also, I'm very deliberate about telling her what I want and need and what I require. You know, there's a lot on the internet about women saying what they want and require. And every time a man says what he wants, it's like, oh, you asking for too much. And I'm just like, nah, I'll get one life. I'll get one life. And I'm going to dedicate my life and everything I have to you. If we're going to do this together, this is what I require. And I hope you make the choice to do the same for me and reciprocate that. And we talk about being of service to each other. Every morning, Khadeen wakes up and she makes a decision that she wants to be of service to me. So for us, that's how it works for us. And that doesn't work for everybody.
I
But
think
that
our
works for us.
Sorry, babe,
No,
not
go
to
ahead.
cut you off. I think our approach also changed kind of midway through our marriage because
Mm-hmm.
we realized, all right, some shit is not working right. So the reason why the book is called The Counterintuitive Approach to Getting Everything You Want Out of Your Relationship. First of all, you can't look anywhere else but within your relationship, first
Mm-hmm.
and foremost. But also, two people come into relationships thinking about what they can gain, right? How can I get this person that checks every box on my list And how can this person complete me? Instead of thinking, how can I get into this relationship so I can be of service to someone, right? Because I've realized the better care I take of Devale, it equips him to take better care of me because he has everything that he needs, or I at least try to anticipate that now. But we didn't get there off the bat. It took some work to figure that out.
Help me, help us. You know, in the book, y'all talk about, friendship and how friendship is the core of the relationship, which I agree with too. But some people would say love should be the core of a relationship over friendship. What would y'all say to that?
I would say this: more friendships last than intimate partners, right? So if you look at people have boyfriends and girlfriends in and out of their entire life, but some people have friends their whole life, and those friends are allowed grace, right? You have friends that may do something to you, like that's my homeboy, we'll figure it out. But a lot of times when it's love, it's like you hurt me, and when you hurt me, I can't rekindle that hurt. This is what we've learned over the past couple years. I no longer try to validate my actions by dismissing the way she feels about it. You know, and I think a lot of times in intimate relationships, not in friendships, people do that, right? If your friend is hurt by something, a lot of times as your friend, you'll be like, oh, my bad, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. But then when your girl does something or your girl's feelings are hurt, it's like, well, I didn't mean to hurt you. I did it like this, and you shouldn't be hurt. You can't tell people not to be hurt by something you did. They didn't ask to be hurt. They hurt.
That's right.
So what we've learned how to do is just accept the other's feelings. You feel that way, I'm going to explain to you why I did it. I didn't mean to hurt you, but I accept the fact that you feel that way. And it's not just for a man to do to a woman. I be wanting my feelings to be validated
That's
too.
it.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's the manliest thing I can say about it. When my wife started to validate my feelings and say she understands how I feel, she didn't always agree, but she understood. I said, at least if you can understand, we can move forward. And that's why I feel like friendship to me is the foundation, because you have friends for life.
Now, let me ask you,
What do you think about that, Khadeen?
No, I think he's spot on with that. And it's funny, for a while with Devale, I would encourage him to speak his mind and say how he felt, and then at the same time be like, man, you bitching and moaning every day about something. Like,
that's what you were saying?
Literally. I was like, since when did feeling sharing become bitching and moaning?
Tell him what you said. It wasn't you bitching and moaning. We were having a discussion, right? And this is for the first time in my life. I was just like, well, I'm going to be honest. This is how I felt, and it should hurt my feelings. And I'm going through why it hurt my feelings. She goes, you sound like a bitch.
Wow.
damn it, man.
Right?
Boy. Lord have mercy.
How did you respond?
And I was like, so me being a very immature person that I am, I said, I don't gotta sound like a bitch, but I can go get me another bitch. Because now I'm trying to hurt her.
See, now,
You wanna
so
die.
then it becomes that.
I get the
Then
tit
it
for tat.
becomes that. It's a tit for tat.
immature. Like we
that's
were
all.
like 26,
I get it.
26, 27.
Yeah,
We were
yeah.
immature,
I
but
get it.
and we tell these stories in the book because we like to tell people the stories through the trauma. I'm not gonna make it seem like everything was picture perfect.
Right.
Yeah, I got down on my knee and it was flowers. The sun was shining. Then we
Yeah,
had
no,
our
sure as hell
children.
wasn't a lot
Everything
of
was
that.
perfect. No,
Not at all.
Because when people fall into a situation in their relationship where they're hurting each other, they feel like I'm the only relationship going through this. And since I'm the only relationship going through this, I'm going to get out of here. But nah, we was just like, listen, that hurt my feelings. I don't mean to do that. I didn't mean to say that. How can we get back to what we want to do? And we spoke about it.
I try to encourage it now too, because I mean, so often women are trying to pull at their men to tell them, how do you feel? What do you need? What do you want? And the fact that I have a husband who I think is sometimes even an oversharer. Like sometimes we just talk, like for us, marriage seems to be one continued long conversation. Like it just never ends. Like we're always talking about something. So that's the thing that's been our saving grace for us. It's like just being upfront about how we feel off the bat, so there's no guessing involved.
Now, he's acting now. Well, he's been acting for a long time now.
Yeah.
So did you ever have a problem with him lip locking with other?
I low key like that shit. I be like,
Really?
"Ooh, look at you.
You a cucker?
Well, let me tell
What they call them? What do people call them?
Cuckold.
Cuckold.
Cuckold. No, it's something different for a woman. It's
It is something different. It's something different for
Is
women.
it?
Cuck- Cuck
Cuckold
queen.
is
Cuck
one.
queen. Cuck
Is it
queen.
cuck queen?
Cuck queen.
Look at that. Now we're extending my porn vocabulary. But anyway, no, I think because I understand the industry and I realize like these sex scenes ain't really nothing super sexy about it. I'm
And they
thinking
not,
about the
bro.
environment that he's in when they're actually filming that.
Right.
But a funny story, 2 years ago, actually almost rolling
Yeah,
up on
2
2
years
years,
ago, yeah.
he was filming an episode of Sisters or a season of Sisters. So I'm simultaneously watching the episodes that are on air. And he warns me that he has this shower scene coming up with his co-star Crystal. So I was like, okay, all right. And he was just like, just so you know, like it's going to be a little intense. And I'm like, how intense can it be for BET? Like, it's BET.
How intense could it be for BET?
So I'm like, yeah,
You know.
So I'm watching it or whatever, and I mean, at this point, I hadn't seen him for like 3 weeks because they were still on lockdown
filming.
for COVID, you know. So I was like, damn, I miss my man. I was moving cross country with the kids. I was frustrated. I was backed up. I was like, shit. So the episode comes on, and I see Devale got Crystal like legs over his shoulder. She's up against the shower wall. It's a blue light, and it's just going and it's going, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what we doing, right? So I'm like,
when somebody say that's what we doing, it's never good.
Doing, right?
Oh, that's what we doing?
Okay, cool. So I was like, your shower scene was nice, whatever. So I could tell in his voice he was kind of like you have something else to say.
I ain't gonna lie, I was a little.
And I was
nervous.
like, good stuff. I was just like, you strong as fuck. He's like, all right, yeah. So then,
Oh, he never did that to you.
right.
Oh, no, I
right.
definitely did that to
But
her.
we had done that.
okay.
It had been a while though. It had been a while.
Yeah.
So what I did, I go on Amazon and I was like, blue light bulb. So I ordered me a blue light bulb. At this point, we just moved into our house in Georgia, so I didn't have any lamps or anything. So I was like, lamp. So the blue light bulb and the lamp came to the door. I screwed that joint in. He came home one day before Valentine's Day.
Surprised him.
And he surprised me and came home early because I thought he was going to be done after Valentine's Day. And I was like, oh, you here? I went, put that thing together, put the blue light on. We only had an air mattress in the bedroom at this point. And let me tell you, got to work and our son Dakota, our fourth son, is the product of the blue light special.
The blue light special.
Which is kind of weird because it was inspired from a scene between him and Crystal's his godmother, actually.
Yeah.
And he's, born months later. So I can't tell him that story. I don't think I'll save the details.
I wouldn't tell Dakota
I
that
can't
story.
tell him like, oh, you were conceived off
I
the blue
think
light special.
he'll hear this later.
I'm sure
on.
he'll hear one day. This is documented now.
But I will say this though, I'm very deliberate about making sure that she is in contact with the women that I have these scenes with. So for example, when we did our chemistry read, me and Crystal FaceTimed her. I let her know beforehand, like, we have some sex scenes. I did a season of Bigger, and it was Angel Conwell. Her and Angel became friends. Like, to me, I don't want it to ever be a thing where she feels uncomfortable. You go to a red carpet or you go to an event, and that's the woman that I had a sex scene with, and it's the first time you ever meet her. It's like, nah, y'all have this conversation beforehand. I'm always respectful, especially to my co-stars. Like, I'm never going to cross that line because it's, after the whole Me Too movement, you realize how easy it is for someone to feel uncomfortable in your presence, especially as a big strapping man. I'm 200 pounds. Like, these are smaller women. So I always try to make sure that they're comfortable. She's comfortable. This way, there's no...
Have you ever felt uncomfortable in the workplace?
Me? I've never felt uncomfortable, to be honest. And this is... I'm not going to out anybody, but women are very sexual, too, in the workplace. They say stuff. A woman may smack you on the butt if, you know what I'm saying, if they think it's just that type of environment. And you may feel comfortable as a man saying, oh, if that's what we doing, that's what we doing. But what I equate it to, which may not be right, is kind of like black people and white people, right? I can make a joke on a white boy. If he make a joke on me about my blackness, I'm going to be fucking pissed, right? If a woman says something to me about my physique, I'm gonna eat that. I'm not gonna now just comment about her body every time I see her.
That sounds crazy.
That sounds crazy.
When you gonna grow up? When you gonna grow up, bro? Come on.
This woman comment on me. I'm gonna eat that.
We in a new location. Jesus. He got a throne, same Charlamagne. He got a whole throne, gold seat.
So let me ask you a question, right? So people got on me about a couple of weeks ago because my wife went on a 20-day trip.
Yeah, I seen that.
And they were like, how dare you, how you let her go on a trip?
Seen that.
Would you let your wife go on a 20-day trip?
So here's my thing, right? No. Here's
I wish
my
you
thing.
just said a hard,
Here's the
aggressive
thing.
no, like you said.
Like I said earlier, right? No!
Tell them how you really feel.
I don't know how she would survive without me and the kids for 20 days.
That's
And she would spend the whole time calling me
And
to
FaceTiming
FaceTime
y'all.
the kids. It would annoy
we
the
did that,
shit
yeah.
out of me.
Yeah.
Right?
Word.
Me, I don't know how I would survive without my wife for 20 days.
That's how I feel.
Like,
Word.
But she just did it for you 3 weeks without you.
Yeah. But I had to work. She's not going to make no money. She's going to spend money.
the money. That
There's
is
an absolute
touche,
difference. There's an absolute
touche.
difference. Now, if she had to go work, go get your bag. Do what you got to do. But
Whose
So
idea
it's not
was
about
it?
the time, it's about the money.
Whose idea was it, though?
it's about
You know what it was? Gia's friend lives in Thailand.
Okay.
And she worked there. So she was going there for like a couple of days to visit a friend.
Okay.
And when she was going, all her friends were like, yo, I want to go. Yeah, let's go. And then it became, well, It's on the other side of the country. Let's go to Bali.
It is
Let's go to
time,
Phuket. Let's go to Bangkok. Let's go to all these places.
Right.
And she was like, "Do you mind?" I'm like, "Nah, I
You
got
spent
my
some
kids."
time in
Let me tell you,
Bangkok
bro.
too, by the way.
If
They spent a little bit more time in Bangkok.
I mean,
Yo,
Sean,
shut up, man.
the minute I heard cock, I was like, "Here comes Charlamagne. Here comes Charlamagne."
But they had a good time. Like it was
I'll be
going on.
honest
Like
with you,
my
bro.
assistant went with them. Like it was a
Oh,
big.
so you had eyes
I'm
out
gonna be
there.
honest.
I wasn't worried about
You're
that.
not worried
I know,
about
I
that.
know.
If Kay tells me she wants to do something, I'm gonna be 100% behind it.
But it was
I'm
also
not-
a challenge to me. 6 kids, no wife.
Oh.
I mean, Envy, you could do that, bro.
Oh, yeah, I did it, no
6 kids,
problem.
you could do that
No,
easy.
the math homework was hard. I ain't even gonna front.
Oh, I'm not touching
Third
We
the
don't
math
even do
homework.
Grade
math
math
homework.
homework?
I got
We
a math
hired a
tutor. I got a
tutor
tutor
for
for my
Jackson in
son.
what, 2nd grade?
No, it was 3rd grade.
3rd grade, because that's
Third
when
grade.
the common math started
The
coming
regroup
in.
and the Common Core,
Yeah.
bro.
I'm like, what happened to carry the one?
Yo, on everything. Me and
hell?
Jackson almost came to blows, right? Because I was trying to tell him old school carry the 1, and he's like, "No,
Yeah,
you got to
he-
make it go to 10." And I'm like, "Why
And
the
then
fuck
bring
I
it
got to
back.
go to 10? I've been doing math my whole life. You put the 1 on top of that, cross the 8 on it," and he was just like, "No." I said, "You gonna tell me no? I'm your father. I don't care what your teacher say."
Who was right?
He was right.
He was
That's the
right.
new math.
It's new math, bro.
literally new math.
You got to
Yes.
make all of the equations go to 10
It
for
doesn't
some
make no
reason.
sense.
Yes.
And then it comes back a roundabout answer when you could have easily did it in 3 seconds. And I
Yeah.
said, I am
It's-
not having a stroke trying to figure this out with my 8-year-old.
Nope.
Yeah, I've been gave that assignment to my wife.
Pass it on.
It's bad.
That's
Like,
it.
it was
Pass
really
it on.
bad.
It was
Like
so-
they
Yo,
got bad
Charlamagne.
grades, and then they come home like, "Dad, did my homework," and then it's bad.
I
I
love that you
felt-
supported her, though.
Yeah, nah.
I know, I do. And to be honest, bro,
Yeah.
here's the truth, man. Who gives a shit what other people say about your marriage?
I
That's
don't
a
care.
fact.
I only got one woman to please.
That's
I
right.
get killed all the time
Oh, you and me both.
on Twitter.
Oh, you a simp?
I
Like me.
get killed all the time.
same. And I'm
Isn't that
submissive.
wild?
And
We
I'm so
simps.
submissive.
It's
I'm
not
just
wild.
letting my
Showing
listen to my
respect.
husband.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying I'm always submissive. That's what we've been labeled as.
Yeah, so I'm a simp and she's submissive. So a lot of the newer age women feel like Khadeen is setting women back because she is of service to her husband, and a lot of the dudes feel like I'm a simp because I'm of service to my wife. And to me, I'm like, I'm never going to value someone's opinion who's not
Correct.
married. You're single, you're living your life. Do what you want to do. I have no problems with that. But what you're not going to do is dictate to me
right.
how I'm supposed to exist
That's right.
in my marriage. That's why, like, because I saw the post. I was like, dang, you're going for freaking 20 days. I wouldn't know what to do with myself if she was going for 20 days because she's going to be on my phone all day.
All day.
But if that's what y'all want to do and y'all cool with it, man, fuck that.
And I love how
Everybody
you
else.
framed it too, because people would be like, "Oh, you allowed your wife to go away for 20 days?" Like, you know, that allow word
There's no
can
allow.
rub people.
Nah,
But
yeah.
nah, it's not. We supported each other in our decision
Yeah.
to do this.
But I also tell people like this. Do you know how many times I was on the road doing shows, traveling, handling my business, and that one
Facts.
time that she'd be like, "I need you home right now."
Facts.
She was like, "Nah, I'll take care of it.
Do your
This has
thing.
to be done. I'll do it."
Facts.
Oh,
But
this
you
has
weren't
to be
gone
done.
for 20 days at a
That's
time.
Not at 20 days at a time. Well, when I was on tour, when I was DJing for
Okay,
Fab,
okay.
we went on the road for 20, 30 days at times. But,
But
she,
I never-
she held it down.
Even when I saw people were like, "Oh, she out there cheating on you." My mind never went to that. As a married man, I went where you went. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, what am I going to do with these kids for 20 days? You
and
know
they
what I mean?
all sleeping in the bed it was an experience.
What you said though was very important, right? Your mind never went to that space because you're in a committed relationship.
Right.
So you understand the value of being with someone and that they can be away for 20 days and their first thing is I'm not going to go get somebody else. There's so many people who have no idea what that feels like.
Right. That's
right. Yeah.
And we as married people can't judge them. That's why when people feel away or they say something about Khadeen or I have empathy towards them. I don't ever be like, no, fuck you. I'm just like, hey, you've never been in a committed relationship with someone.
Right.
I feel bad that you never experienced that type of trust.
Right.
Because people get on me all the time like, I can't believe you doing these sex scenes and you got a whole wife at home who gave you 4 sons. And I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
You
But he's a
feel away
he's a
because,
professional.
yeah, I'm a professional, but I understand how them watching somebody else can trigger them to remember something that someone else did to them.
Yep. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm like, you know what, if that's how you felt about that, I mean, that's on you.
And we're all blessed to be in long-term relationships. Like I'll
Facts.
Yeah, how many years now for
it'll be
you?
25 this year. That
I'm
we
28.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So like,
So we the babies in that group.
We
25
are.
is- we 21.
Almost 21 years
Almost
together,
21.
12 married.
but
yeah.
think about that. We all grew up together.
Yep.
So there's
Literally.
things that
Yeah.
somebody may want to go do,
Yeah.
like for their own mental and emotional well-being.
Absolutely.
Yep. There's
Absolutely.
a beauty in that, I think, too. And we discussed it in the book. Like, it was hard enough trying to grow as an individual, right? You're 18, 19, trying to figure out who you are in this world. And you're trying to grow simultaneously while trying to consider someone else's feeling at the same time. And that was a challenge for us throughout many phases in our relationship. And then you have the transition to become parents. And then you add more children and you add a career. share. So in the book, we're able to unpack all of that. And I think I love that the story that we tell is not going to be the pillars of how to have the perfect marriage. Like, we don't profess to be the professionals or gurus on anything relationship or marriage.
We're trying to figure it out.
We just hope that we can share our story, and whether you're single, whether you're married, whether you aspire to be married, whether you read this book and you say, you know what, I ain't trying to be a service to no goddamn body but myself, so I don't want to be married. Correct. At least you may walk away with an insight or perspective about something that helps you make a decision in your life when it comes to relationships.
And that was Kay's purpose for writing the book. I mean, she spoke about some very deep topics. I mean, in college, we had an unexpected pregnancy, and we talked about how we dealt with that and what it took to make decisions. And to be honest, when people read it, they're going to be like, that's not what I expected to hear from these two of who wanted to have it and who didn't want to have it. And like, there's so many things that people are like, wow, I didn't expect that. For me personally, I wanted people to laugh. Like and the way we wrote the book in a way where we tell a story. It's my perspective and her perspective. Then it's the wrap up of what we learned from that. So you get a chance to hear 18-year-old Devale's perspective, 18-year-old Khadeen's perspective, and then 38-year-old Devale's recap of how that changed him, and 38-year-old Khadeen's version.
I'm still 24.
But the biggest thing for me was I just hit 24 still. All right, I'll receive that for you. I want people to enjoy it and laugh. Khadeen wanted to talk about some hard topics as a woman. I wanted men to hear this story of being married. And like y'all, when y'all think about marriage, y'all don't think, every time I've heard y'all speak about marriage, I've never heard y'all be like, oh, my ball and chain, oh, my woman's at home. Nah, y'all are enjoying the process. And I am too. So I want men to read the book and be like, yo, marriage may not be that bad if this is what they've been through. Like, so that's for me. I just wanted to share. I wanted to entertain people.
It's not even just men though. We had Lala up here guest hosting, and
I seen that. I did see that. Yeah.
She came to mind because I heard her clip on people not wanting to be married now or aspiring to marriage.
Yeah. What do y'all think of that? She said marriage is not the goal no more.
Different. I mean, I guess it's a case by case basis, but it's not something that's highlighted as the best thing all the time, right? So I think Devale and I, much like many other couples, because quiet as it's kept, we're not an anomaly. Like, there are a lot of, you're a happily married man, happily married man. There are a lot of happily married people running around. So I just feel like by us sharing more of those stories, it's a way to kind of help the narrative around marriage, but also too, like I said earlier, making sure people know, like, do I aspire to marriage, right? You can't find somebody and be like, oh, well, this person makes me want to be married. Because what happens? That puts the onus on that person to always be this perfect image of what you were, what they were when they met you, or, you know, and that's so much pressure on one person. So what if they falter? What if they change? What if they outgrow something? Then are you still a marriage person or not, you know? So I think you really need to decide, like, is that something you aspire to first and then go from there?
I think that marriage isn't the object anymore. Socioeconomically, it's just not, right?
But it's also what your kids see, too.
Absolutely.
Because what your kids see, they're going to want to say, I want what my mom and dad has. Like my daughter,
I hope they say that.
She wants what they see. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Because you have a healthy marriage. We both grew up and watched, and we talk about this in the book, we both grew up, and there's parts of our parents' marriages that I was like, I don't think I ever want to be married after watching that. And not just my parents. I watch my aunts, I watch my uncles, I watch people around me and be like, why would I ever want to be married if everybody looks miserable? But I remember speaking to my grandmother, and this is when we got married, and this is the first thing my grandmother said. You know, she has Alzheimer's now, but she was at a point in her life where she could still remember things. She said, hey, poo-poo. And Kay was like, hey. She was just like, is your whole sore?
What?
Your whole sore.
Jesus.
And I was like, Grandma. And she was just like, what? That's why people get married. She's like, when I was growing up, we got married to get out of our house. I didn't want to live with my parents, so I had to find me a man so I can get out of my parents' house. My grandmother grew up in the South. When she was in 8th grade, they took her out of school so that she can help raise the farm. Like, her only objective in life was to get married so she didn't have to be on the farm with her parents. When you look at women nowadays, that's not what they're looking at. Women go to college, they get they have degrees, they have their own careers. They're not looking at marriage as a safe haven to escape from their parents and the hardships of life. They're like, I get my own money. So if you're a dude and now you're in the dating scene and you're not dating or courting women who are aspiring to marriage, it's like, okay, she want to have sex, I want to have sex. We both got our own money. We don't want kids. Why don't we just be friends with benefits, or we just date for a little bit and move on? And I feel like that's okay for people who want that. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with that.
Is your whole sore is wild though?
Wild.
Grandmother said.
I did not know how to respond
Is your whole
to
sore.
that.
That's so,
Wow.
but
I
that
came back
shows
from the
you-
How did you answer that?
I didn't. I was just kind of like.
I
which-
said, Nana.
I think I said, Nana, which hole? She was like, you know which hole I'm talking about.
But
And
that
I
tells
was
you the
like,
mindset, though. That tells you the mindset, though.
She
My
could reply,
grandmother-
you tell me.
You tell me what hole.
That part.
She holds no punches.
Not
she
one.
holds
Not
no
one.
punches.
Oh, I miss her.
Y'all have a chapter called There's a Marriage After This Wedding. Break that down.
So y'all remember when I told you that
mess.
I got killed on Twitter? Remember I told you I got killed on Twitter?
Yes.
So we got killed. I got killed on Twitter because we had a conversation about monogamy.
Oh, I remember this.
And I had said to Khadeen, I was just like, yo, man, you wanted monogamy. And she's like, I forced you. And I was just like, hey, you didn't force me, but there was a lot of pressure, right? While we were writing the book, we had discussed what our thought process was about getting engaged and being married. And Khadeen had admitted that she had never really thought about the marriage.
Nope.
In her
Anytime
mind? Go ahead.
anytime I had conversations with anyone regarding marriage or the wedding, it was the wedding. It was, what dresses you're gonna get and who's the florist, and it was the planning of the day. At no point in time did anyone pull me aside and say, Khadeen, like, once you get married, here are some things to expect, right? You watch these Disney movies and it says happily ever after. No one sees what happens after they ride off into the sunset.
Correct.
So I felt like I was left in the dark. I feel like it was a setup. I felt like nobody prepped me on anything. And then I think there was also a beauty in that, though, because I felt like if I were to get advice from aunts, uncles, or grandmothers, it might have also been their jaded perspective of what their marriage was like. And I'm like, that could have been a turnoff, too.
I agree
But
with
it was
that.
particularly difficult because I just did not think about or plan for what life was going to look like after the wedding.
So the pressure comment had triggered a lot of women because they felt like, oh, so she pressured you to get married. And I was like, it wasn't the pressure to get married. It was the pressure to take care of all of the responsibilities once you decide you're going to marry a woman. For example, I have to save the money to get you a ring. I have to decide how we're going to propose. I have to decide after we get married, what is our life going to look like? If we have financial issues, no one ever says, what's your wife doing? They always look at me as the husband and be like, so there was a lot of pressure on me to make sure that I'm doing everything that I can to be the husband that I want to be. On top of that, once I proposed, I got cut 6 weeks after by the NFL, so I didn't have a job. So there was a lot of pressure on me because I'm like, hey, I was in the NFL when I proposed, and now we're planning a wedding, and I'm no longer in the NFL. How do I sustain the lifestyle of someone who was making $500,000 a year when I make no money? So yeah, there was a lot of pressure on me, but I understand how a lot of women could have taken that word pressure and felt triggered by it. But to me, I'm like, as the man, I didn't care about the wedding at all. I didn't. I was focused on the marriage. I said, okay, after we get married, where are we going to live? What are you going to do for work? What am I going to do for work? Are we going to have children right away?
That's how most men feel. Because I look at it the same way. Like, we spend all this money for this.
Yeah.
Right.
F that. Let's do the future. Let's do the house. Let's do the savings. Let's do
had
the
no-
investments.
no-
Let's do this.
no
Because that's just
foresight.
for the show.
Bro,
So
she,
Jason
foresight.
Wilson was up here the other day, and Jason Wilson said,
it's my guy too.
he said, me and my wife got it together.
Mm-hmm.
So on that come up, you know what I'm saying? Like, we worry about things that it's what you got a partner
Yeah.
for. She gonna be with you if she a real one.
That's
Absolutely.
a fact. I mean, think about it. After the whole wedding situation happened, and then we went back, the wedding was over. It's fend for yourself at this point.
Yo.
Devale looked at me. He said, I don't want to go to Canada because he had an opportunity
I
to
have
play
to
ball
go
in
play more
Canada.
time, yeah.
He said, I want to start a business and maybe work towards this acting career. And I was like, all right, well, so what we got to do?
On everything. She said, all right, so what we got to do?
Right.
I said, we need health insurance.
Yeah.
NFL cut you don't have health insurance.
Yep.
She was like, well, if I get a job at the mall, I can work full time. I can get health insurance. So I
And
was
at
like,
the time,
all
I
right.
used to work for Matt Cosmetics, so I took my engagement ring right off, put it down, took my jewelry off,
Got on the
put on all
B44.
black, did my makeup, got on the B44 bus on no string, took that joint to Kings Plaza, and I was like, "Are y'all hiring? Because I need a job."
Wow.
And this
So,
is,
and
and
I
this
was
is,
like,
Why you
imagine
gotta
That's
take
it.
your ring off to do that?
Just
You
because
want to get robbed
it
on
was
the bus.
I
This
didn't
is
want to get robbed, man.
This is Brooklyn, bro.
coming from Crown Heights.
This is Brooklyn, bro.
Coming from Crown, bro.
Listen,
Charlamagne,
just
you
in
on that
case.
bus.
You gotta got your spidey senses up.
Got you,
know?
got you,
Crown
got
Heights
got you.
through Flatbush to go to Kings Plaza, and she
Yeah,
gonna have
I
on a
said, just
freaking
in
3-carat diamond ring.
Got you,
Hell no.
Back then,
I
Kings
feel you,
Plaza
I
and Green
feel you.
Acres Mall was probably the worst malls in New York.
Oh, absolutely,
Yo.
without a doubt.
But
Green
this is
Acres and
where
Kings
my,
Plaza.
my kept wife went. Like my kept wife, when we had a house in Michigan, it was on an acre. It was on an acre, 4 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, living room, dining room, everything. Now we're back in an apartment in Crown Heights, and she's on a bus. And this, to me, this is why I like telling these stories through the struggle. Because when people go through that, especially these men, you feel damaged. When I tell you my ego was freaking crushed, I'm like, I used to sit in the bathroom sometimes. I go in the bathroom, I'm going to the bathroom, babe, and she think I'll be taking a shit. I'll be on the toilet just sitting there just like, man, like, how did I end up back here? And I got this woman that I asked to be my wife, and now she got to go to the mall and work. Like, and I went through all of that, but then she never made me feel like less of a man. She never, when I was telling her, imagine you tell a woman, yeah, I'm going to be an actor. I don't want to play football no more. I don't know how I'm going to be an actor, but I'm going to be an actor. Matter of fact, I'm going to open a gym. I don't have no experience in kinesiology, but you tell your woman this, and she goes, okay, how we going to do that?
You don't got to tell me to imagine.
We
did it. You know what I'm saying?
We over me. That's it.
We've been through it.
You see,
Literally.
and I know y'all both been through
Literally.
it. So when you hear, like, when people say, well, you know, why you love marriage so much? That's why. I got a partner, bro. When it was the worst of the worst,
And
I
it's
could lean
friendship,
over
like
and
you
be like,
said.
That's real.
baby,
It's the
listen.
homie right here.
How many days did we eat grits? Yo, this is
It was
after
like
the NFL. Grits.
Grits and eggs. That might be why that's Jackson. Our oldest son loves grits and eggs.
Grits and
like
eggs.
that's his thing.
It was cheap.
And it might be
I
because
made
that's
it
what
3
we
times
made
a day.
forever.
I was not trying to go buy no steaks. You hungry, buddy? What you want? Breakfast? You want breakfast for dinner, right? Breakfast is the
breakfast for
best.
dinner.
That's the best
We
thing.
making a
Right? We
thing.
eat breakfast, grits and eggs every day.
Can we give some of these books away? We got 2 up here. Can we give
Please
2
do.
away?
absolutely,
I would love if y'all did.
Nah, we over me, man.
That's right. 800-585-1051. We got 2 books to give away. We
That'd
keep
be
it on
dope.
4 books you brought up here, so we can give 2 away.
Yeah,
Oh, please
definitely.
do.
All right, yeah. So we're going to
Definitely,
give 2 books away today. Call us up right now and pick up the book. We Over Me, and we appreciate you for joining us, guys.
Nah,
Thank
thank y'all,
you.
man. We appreciate y'all.
Subscribe to the Dead Ass Podcast.
Yes, we're on
sir.
Patreon. You can watch all the video content on Patreon.
Yeah,
So-
we got some live shows coming up. Detroit, we still got tickets if y'all out there. Come
What
check
up,
us.
though?
Tell them where to
Detroit.
get tickets from.
Where you get tickets from? Deadasspodcast.com. Go to deadasspodcast.com. You can get
That's
the last
it.
few tickets in Detroit. Everywhere else is sold out. LA is sold out. Texas is sold out. Chicago sold out.
Yeah.
All of the book tours sold out. New York, DC,
Philly.
Philly, and
We over
Atlanta
there,
is
too.
all sold out. So
Yes.
we'll see y'all in Detroit,
Nothing but
hopefully.
love.
And
We
bro,
love y'all.
I love Sisters, man. But see, I watch Sisters from the perspective of a comedy.
Oh, for sure. You have to.
Oh, it is a comedy.
hilarious.
It is.
Like
really
Sisters
This is not the one where the dude hit the dude and he spun around.
Yes, man.
No, come on, man.
So when I get my prostate tick.
So let me tell you the truth about Sisters and what people don't understand. Do y'all watch telenovelas?
No, I mean I know what they are though. Yeah.
So telenovelas is a soap opera, but there's
Oh, that
comedy.
makes sense.
There's
Yeah.
comedy
Built
in the
in.
soap opera. So
Yeah.
when people first saw Sisters, they were just like, "Why is this on primetime?" Tyler put a soap opera on primetime and added comedy to it, so it's like a telenovela. That's why the numbers are so crazy. But people who watch it don't understand. They're like, "This is funny, but it's not supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be a drama." But if you watch it, like you said, under the guise of what it's supposed to be, you like, "Oh, I get it."
Gotcha.
Why do they want you to hate Karen so much?
I don't know. And that's what I don't understand. It be black women be wanting me to hate Karen so much. And I'm like, yo, Karen might be carrying my baby. We had a 3-year relationship. I would never hate that woman. They're like, nah, she mad disrespectful to Fatima. A lot of it is the fact that people love Fatima so much.
Right.
And she's the antithesis of what I need in a woman. So they're like, you got to hate her in order to love her. And I'm like, no, it's a divine dichotomy. I can love both of them at the same time.
Okay, divine
You know,
dichotomy.
like-
Yeah.
Look at you with the SAT
so
words.
for people who don't know what,
gotta look
I'm
that
a
shit
little bit
up.
smart. I
You
read a
gotta
little
look that
bit. I
shit
read a little
up.
bit.
All right.
But no, divine dichotomy is the fact that 2 things that are opposite can exist at the same exact time. And people often think that they can't.
That's right.
Right? So it's like my ex and my current girl. I have to hate her in order to love my girl properly. No, I don't. I can still have love for her. It just didn't work out for us because she wasn't my one. This one is my one. I have love for her, but I am in love with Fatima. And that's a great
Hence
question because
Fatima.
on Twitter, that's what I'm always arguing with people. Why you still talk to Karen? Why would I not? Every
Right.
woman deserves respect, especially if she might be carrying my child.
Right. Because
You
if
want
it
me
is
to
your baby, then what?
Exactly.
You
You
can't
got
be
to
a deadbeat. They
co-parent.
gonna get you for
Not a
being- yeah, they
co-parent.
gonna
So
get
that
you
was
for
a,
being a deadbeat.
this is why Charlamagne got the good job.
Yeah,
you see what I'm
that's
saying? That was a good question. Because on
Good
Twitter, that is
questions.
always what they ask me. Why you still talk to Karen? I'm like,
Oh,
come
we have
on.
a travel show coming out with the boys.
Oh,
What?
dope.
Oh,
On
yes,
Go
yes, yes,
USA.
yes. Yes.
It's coming out actually this Friday, February 10th. So make sure everybody tunes
glad
in
you
and
brought
watch.
that up.
That's a good time. We got to
Go
take
USA.
the boys over. Go USA.
USA.
Hold on,
Yeah.
I do have one more question because you talked about that. Because even when you talked about, how you feel about her when she doesn't answer the phone. How do you feel about putting your family out there so much?
So this is the truth, man. As the kids get older, I'm not sure how much more they're gonna be
Right.
out there. I'm just
Gotcha,
being
gotcha,
honest,
gotcha.
right?
Yep.
it got to a point where we're asking Jackson, like, hey, do you want to be on camera? And if Jackson say no, the answer is no.
Yeah, because he's 11 going on 12 now.
Yeah, Cass has always been no. Cairo loves the camera. At first, this was a way for me to share my life. Like, I'm an artist. If I was a rapper, I'd be rapping about my family, you know? But I'm starting to realize, like, my kids need to have say in what their likeness is. So,
and just for safety purposes, too.
Yeah, that's me. I'm mama bear mode. So
Yeah,
I'm half the time like, nope, leave them out. No, even if people see us in public, for the most part, people are very respectful. They come up and say hi from a distance. But they see us with the kids. They kind of know to, like, you know, stay back and stuff. So
we have a good, strong, I hate saying fan base. But supporters. We have good supporters.
Yeah,
but the kids, as they get older, especially going to school, traveling on their own, I'm probably going to phase them back. I don't want them to have to walk around with security because their parents, you know, I just don't want them to have to. I want them to live.
Some days
nice,
I want to phase
life.
all the way off of social media and just shut the whole joint down.
Well, she never wanted to do social media.
Yeah.
This is what's crazy.
I have my moments where I like go back and forth about it, just because again, safety, protective mama bear, all that. So we just try to take the measures necessary when we do involve them. But the travel show was fun because it was something that we got to do, travel the U.S. a little bit with the guys, and we executive produce
all our content.
So
I'm not about letting anybody else have autonomy over my children's likeness or my family's likeness.
Yeah, we turned down a lot of stuff.
We did. We turned down a whole lot of stuff. Like our manager over there in the corner be looking at us sometimes like, really, y'all really don't want to do that? And I'm like, I don't want to do it if we can't control it.
Yeah.
You know, so everything we have, y'all see, we've executive produced. Our content crew is always here. Josh and Matt is always there. Denora is the brains behind making sure the brand deals fit in part to what we want to do.
For sure.
So we just trying to own this as best as we can and just, you know, be we over me till we die.
Hey,
there we go.
We over me. The book is out right now.
That's right.
Yes.
It's the Breakfast Club.